The phone rang at exactly 6 a.m., the screen flashing an unknown number. When I pressed answer, a detached professional voice said, "Good morning, ma'am. I'm calling from the police. Someone has broken into your parents' home." My heart hammered against my ribs, but not for the reason you'd think. Just 12 hours earlier, my sister had looked me dead in the eye and snapped, "That's your role in this house," after my parents demanded I cancel my dream vacation to care for their precious golden retriever. For 10 years, I was the invisible, obedient daughter who skipped her own life for their convenience. But this time, I didn't argue. I simply packed my bags, walked out, and let the chips fall where they may. They thought they could trap me forever, but my silence was a fuse to a ticking bomb they never saw coming in their entire lives. My name is Megan. I'm 32 years old, and for as long as I can remember, I have been the invisible daughter. If you looked at my family from the outside, you'd think my parents were eccentric, deeply loving people. They treat their prize-winning orchids like delicate royalty, and their golden retriever Barnaby like a literal prince. Then there's my younger sister, Vanessa. At 29, Vanessa is the undisputed goddess of the household. Whatever Vanessa wants, Vanessa gets. While my existence has always been defined by what I can do for them. I am the unpaid labor, the designated driver, and the permanent safety net. For the past year, the talk of the family has been the ultimate European vacation, a 3-week luxury tour through Italy and France. I worked 80-hour weeks at my marketing firm to pay my own way down to the last cent, refusing to ask my parents for a single dime. I wanted to prove I belonged there as an equal. We had everything booked, the flights, the villas, the wine tours, but at our final family send-off dinner, as I sat looking at the travel itineraries printed on the table, the atmosphere suddenly shifted. My mother set down her wine glass, cleared her throat, and looked at me with a practiced, tragic smile that instantly made my stomach drop. The trap was being set, and I was completely blind to how deep the betrayal truly ran. The dog needs someone to feed it, and the plants need watering every day, my mother said, her voice dripping with artificial sweetness. I stared at her, my fork hovering midair as the words slowly sank in. My father wouldn't look me in the eye, suddenly very interested in cutting his steak. They expected me to stay behind. They claimed a professional pet sitter was far too expensive and completely untrustworthy for their precious Barnaby. I felt the blood rush to my ears. "Why me?" I asked, my voice trembling as I gestured to the printed itineraries. "The whole family is going on vacation. I paid for my own tickets. I've been packing for weeks." That's when Vanessa set down her phone, rolled her eyes, and snapped the words that would alter our relationship forever. "That's your role in this house." No one defended me. My mother just nodded smoothly, adding that I was always so reliable, and that surely I didn't want their expensive trip ruined over a little selfishness. In that devastating moment, a brutal realization washed over my entire being. The painful truth that to them, I was never a real daughter or a cherished sister. I was merely an asset to be managed, a convenient utility to be used whenever they needed me. A cold, sharp clarity settled deep into my soul. Snorts. Instead of crying, screaming, or begging them to see my humanity, I simply lowered my heavy fork, forced a pleasant smile, and softly said, "Okay." The next afternoon, the house was a whirlwind of chaos. I watched from the hallway as Vanessa and my parents packed their luxury SUVs, tossing heavy designer suitcases into the back. They were completely giddy, entirely consumed by the excitement of their upcoming European getaway. As they headed for the door, my mother gave me a quick, patronizing pat on the shoulder, while my father muttered a distracted, "Thanks for holding down the fort, kiddo." Vanessa didn't even look up from her phone as she walked out. They truly believed they had beaten me. They thought they had successfully guilted their obedient, invisible daughter into spending the next 3 weeks playing maid and dog nanny. The very moment their taillights vanished down the driveway, my compliance evaporated. I didn't waste a single second crying. Instead, I grabbed my own pre-packed suitcases from the back of my closet and marched downstairs. I placed the house keys directly on the kitchen counter next to a folder. Inside that folder was the confirmation for a premier, highly rated professional pet and house-sitting agency. I had hired them to handle everything, and I paid for it using the emergency household credit card my father had given me access to years ago and completely forgotten about. After ensuring Barnaby was in safe hands, I walked out the front door, locked it behind me, and caught an Uber to the airport. I boarded a completely different flight bound for my own secret paradise. Before we get to the absolute chaos that happened next, I have a quick question for you. Follow my story until the end and comment the city or country you are watching from so I can see exactly how far my journey of independence has reached. The morning sun was just beginning to peek through the sheer curtains of my beautiful beachside hotel room when the sudden buzzing of my phone broke the silence. It, snorts, was exactly 6 a.m. I rubbed my eyes, reaching for the device to see an unknown local number flashing on the screen. When I pressed answer, a detached, professional voice on the other end said, "Good morning, ma'am. I'm calling from the police. Someone has broken into your parents' home." My heart hammered against my ribs, but a strange wave of calm instantly followed. The officer explained that the high-end professional house-sitting agency I had hired had done exactly what they were paid to do. Their smart home security cameras had flagged unauthorized movement inside the house in the middle of the night, and they had immediately dispatched the local authorities to the scene. But as the officer continued talking, the plot thickened in a way I never could have anticipated. The intruder caught red-handed downstairs wasn't a random criminal or a stranger at all. Snorts. It was Vanessa's deadbeat boyfriend, a guy my parents had explicitly banned from the property. It turned out that Vanessa had secretly given him the house security codes before she left for Europe, giving him total permission to throw a massive, destructive weekend party with all of his friends while the house was supposed to be completely empty. With the police actively sweeping the property and Vanessa's boyfriend trapped in handcuffs in the back of a squad car, the professional security agency didn't hesitate. They automatically bypassed me and went straight to the primary homeowners, triggering a cascade of urgent alerts across the Atlantic. Halfway across the world in a stunning boutique hotel in Paris, my parents' dream vacation was instantly and permanently shattered. Their phones lit up the dark room with automated security breach notifications, followed by frantic direct calls from the local police department detailing the absolute chaos unfolding back in California. But the nightmare for them grew exponentially worse. As the officers searched the premises, they discovered Vanessa's boyfriend hadn't just thrown a party. He had been caught red-handed trying to break into my father's private master closet to steal his irreplaceable, expensive luxury watch collection. The betrayal within their own ranks was total. Panic-stricken and completely desperate, my parents frantically dialed my number over and over again, expecting their dependable, obedient daughter to rush over, smooth things over with the law, and clean up the massive mess. When I finally decided to pick up, my mother didn't even say hello. She just started screaming commands at the top of her lungs, demanding to know why I wasn't at the house stopping this disaster. I let her vent for a long, quiet moment before I finally spoke. The pure satisfaction of that moment was worth every single hour of overtime I had worked. I didn't say a word about the security company or the credit card. I just let the gentle, rhythmic sound of the ocean waves crashing against the shore speak for me into the microphone. "What is that noise?" my mother demanded, her voice cracking with a mixture of rage and panic. I took a slow sip of my ice drink, looking out at the endless turquoise water stretching before me. "That would be the Pacific Ocean, Mom," I replied calmly. I explained that I was sitting on a private beach thousands of miles away, enjoying the vacation I had earned. I pointed out that their precious dog was perfectly safe, fed and pampered by certified professionals, and their plants were thoroughly watered. I had fulfilled their literal instructions to the letter. I just hadn't sacrificed my own life to do it. The silence on the line was deafening before Vanessa grabbed the phone, screaming that I had ruined her life and that her boyfriend was being arrested because of me. I didn't argue. I simply reminded her of her own words. That's my role in this house. Role in this. I told them my role as the invisible caretaker was officially over. The emotional and financial fallout hit them like a physical blow. Because of their own blatant favoritism and blindness, they had to cut their incredibly expensive European trips short, forfeit thousands of dollars in non-refundable bookings, and board the next emergency flight home. They had to fly back to face the police, mounting legal fees, a trashed house, and the bitter reality of the criminal boyfriend Vanessa had championed. For the first time ever, they were completely on their own. 3 months have passed since that fateful morning, and that single word, no, completely rewrote the trajectory of my entire life. I used the clarity I found on that beach to finally pack up my things permanently, moving into a beautiful sunlit apartment of my own. I have dialed back contact with my toxic family to a strict, distant minimum, completely refusing to play the role of the submissive martyr ever again. Vanessa's boyfriend ended up taking a plea deal for his crimes, and my parents were forced to swallow the bitter pill of their own enabling behavior. They finally had to face the devastating reality of their favoritism and the real cost of treating their own daughter like a disposable household utility. Now, I'm incredibly curious about all of you who have listened to my story unfold today. What would you have done if you were in my shoes? Have you ever had to stand up to your own family when they tried to force you into being an invisible caretaker? Let me know your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. In the meantime, I am leaving 2 other incredible stories right here on the final screen. They are absolute channel favorites, and I promise the twists in them will completely surprise you. Thank you so much for watching until the very end, and I will see you in the next story.